Hey guys, I'm super excited for today's guest. He's a social media expert. He's the man behind Millionaire Mafia brand. He shared the stage with Ty Lopez, Gary Vee. He's the course creator for Instagram Mastery 3.0. I got Ben Oberg. How are you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks for sharing the conversation, man. I got
Absolutely.
some questions. I wanted to go ahead and dig a little bit deeper, but my audience knows nothing about you, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I basically help people create an online income, whether it be an entrepreneur that it has a personal brand and they're trying to figure out how to monetize it, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Could be a completely new person that's green and trying to figure out how they can create an online brand. Maybe it's a realtor that wants to get more leads and sales and knows that they need to be on Instagram, they need to be educated on YouTube and finding deals that they're not getting through traditional advertising. So I help people grow that social media presence and learn to create sales systems and put them in place to be able to go to any market in any industry and have a wildly profitable online brand. So I'm just teaching that through courses and mentorship programs, sometimes mastermind events I have at my house, and just trying to help people build that 6-7 figure and beyond success.
Sweet. How long you been doing that?
3.5 years now. After I got out of my job, I spent 4 years in sales at a car dealership, and then I just decided about halfway through that I have to start making moves to get out. So started kind of planning, implementing, failing along the way, and once I did start gaining traction, I decided I went all in, quit my job, no money in the bank, and that was November 4th, 2016. So it's been about 3.5 years now that I've been doing this.
So is that tell me a little about that origin story.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit unique.
Yeah, so basically when I got out of high school, there was a brief moment where I was like, okay, what now? And most logical, rational people would have, gone to college, gotten a degree, and I froze for a second and I'm like, I don't see myself doing that. I don't like the idea of going to school for 4 years, having to do these generals or whatever they call them. It just seems like a bunch of bullshit to me. So I'm like, I need to find a different way. Ended up going to a tech school for 4 months. I was a lot more serious than most of the students that were learning there. They didn't want to learn. They wanted to party, drink, and all that stuff. So I was like, man, I'm out. There's a better use of my time elsewhere. I didn't know what that was. So I drove back from South Dakota, that's where the tech school was, back to my mom's place in Washington State, and I remember living in her basement for 2 months. I would literally just sit on the bed. My bed was my office. Lived there for like 2 months, stayed there most of the day, just pen and paper. What am I doing? So eventually I ended up, after 2 months, finding a job on Craigslist as a car salesman. I thought, well, I know a little bit about cars, and I think I can talk to people, so I'll try selling them. And that was, I was 19 at the time. So I showed up, long hair, no suit, and they said, well, you seem halfway intelligent, but you look like shit, so maybe come back, wear a suit. Got my hair cut, wore a suit. That said what they needed to hear, and I just ended up working there. I got immersed in sales, and that's when I met my first mentor, a guy named Aaron Hubbard. They call him the bow tie guy because he was the only guy that would wear a bow tie. Short little guy, maybe just over 5 feet tall, but he always had a laptop, and he would never sell cars. We'd show up at the same time, leave last. He'd sell 8 cars a month, I'd sell 20. And eventually I'm like, what's this guy doing? So he's like, well, I'm building my online business. He got offended. What are you doing? He's like, I'm building my business, bro. I'm like, what business? He exposed me and sort of introduced me to that whole make money online world. And so whatever he did, I kind of dabbled with and kind of started making plays where he was making moves. And so he kind of just exposed me to what might be possible online. And then he left the dealership, and so I still, my curiosity had been struck at that point, so I still decided to try to dabble a little bit more. And finally I started, I did drop shipping. I had a company that I worked with called DS Domination, where you would basically arbitrage, sell stuff on eBay for little profits. And I tried a couple MLMs, tried some affiliate marketing, failed at pretty much all of it, sale here and there. But that experience and the sales experience kind of primed me for doing my own thing. And I just reached a point where I was really depressed in my job. I'm a slave. I live for the weekends. I can't even enjoy the weekends because I'm already worried about, Monday morning. I don't have any money to do anything. I get a vacation once in a while. I feel like complete shit, like to the point of tears. I remember, I want to leave. I'm talking to my dad on the phone. Hey man, you got something good going, don't screw it up, you're not ready yet. Nobody understood, not a damn person, except Aaron, who was no longer at the dealership. So I didn't like physically have him in my life anymore to, be mentored by or get a lot of support, Facebook chat, things like that. And I finally just like, screw it, I'm done. So I quit and I honed in on work. I sat on my living room floor. I had a coffee table and that was my only piece of furniture, a pillow and a laptop in a house. All I could afford was like the mortgage on the house. It's like $4,500 a month in debt to pay the house, food, gas bills. And I just sat down and honed in on trying to make money online. So I'd scratch and claw. I'll build a website for you. I'll post on your Instagram account. And out of all of this shit that I'm doing, ultimately I saw people wanted to learn Instagram. So I kind of decided to hone in on that. And that basically became the first thing that I really stuck and went all into, trying to create an income from Instagram. And then once I did, I started teaching people about it, and that ended up forming itself into a multi-million-dollar brand that I have today that allows me to teach all the other things online that I believe are very relevant to actually creating a successful brand.
Dude, that's sweet. Now, for perspective, you're a bit younger than me. How old were you at the time that you started diving into Instagram like that?
22, 23. Yeah.
How long ago was that?
4 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now you've blown up. Now you're this guru sharing the stage with huge names and you're teaching Instagram all alone. What sets your Instagram course apart from all the others?
I think, well, the biggest issue I see is there's a lot of millennials, I would fall in that generation, and then whatever the generation is after that, X or Z or whatever it is, that are very focused on like hype, clout, likes, comments, and they think of it as more of a hobby, and that is not my bread and butter audience. I don't really care to enable that mentality of thinking. I'm a sales guy. I want to build an audience, build a brand, provide value, and make an assload of money from it, and I want to squeeze every ounce of money ethically out of that audience that I can by providing them value, getting results. And I feel that if I provide the value and present well, I earn the right to be paid, and I feel that your income is a direct result of your true value, not your perceived value, but your actual value, and your income is a direct result of the skills and abilities you possess at that time. And so if you create a course like a lot of people do around, here's how to get likes, here's how to get comments, you're not maybe trying this, but you're literally saying likes and comments are the most important thing. That's what I'm going to teach you to do. And you're missing, like, what about the income or the business side of it? So a lot of people older than me, younger than me, my generation, focused on likes, comments, clout, and none of that equates to income. As a matter of fact, if you go Google, as we're recording this episode right now, if you go Google how much does an Instagram influencer make, you'll get $40,000 to $60,000 a year. If I was making 40 to 60K per year, I would just work at a job. I wouldn't be posting pictures because there's so many more parameters there and so much more effort required to make that 40 to 60K. I would just go where I want security and know I'm going to get a 40K paycheck every year. So I see a lot of course creators or content creators. Here's how to get likes, comments, and followers. What about the sales side of it? What about turning the likes and the engagement you get on a picture, a video, an Instagram story, a YouTube video, whatever the heck it is? What about turning that engagement into somebody curious on clicking your link or doing business with you or buying your product or service? So I have a huge emphasis on, like, how can we turn this engagement or this brand or this repost account or this motivational quote account or your real estate account into somebody saying, hey, I live in your area and I want to buy a damn house, instead of, wow, I got 83 likes in the last 7 minutes. That's what's different.
That's so much deeper than a lot of these other guys. They're just trying to get, follow for follow, or they're trying to get a quick buck, and it's got fairly cheap audience.
Mm-hmm.
And you're speaking to a completely different mindset of clientele.
100%. I've seen people that have programs where they might have 100,000 YouTube subscribers, for example, teaching something like affiliate marketing or e-commerce. And they put together their own course on it, put it out there, and it's not hard to sell a $600, a $1,000, a $2,000 course nowadays. It's not hard. It's a much cheaper alternative to getting a $40,000 degree on the same subject that won't teach you anything applicable, let alone the skills required to actually make millions, right? It'll land you a job working for a company making millions. It won't allow you to be the guy making millions. So I see people go out and they'll make courses, they'll put $200 or $300 price tags on them, and their audience won't buy because they've cultured them off of get rich quick, short mentality, hack, trick, try this, it will work this week, and all this short-term mindset. It's not business, it's just, how to get a trick for the week and get a little dollar quick.
That's interesting that you mentioned that. So perception is a stigma that I think a lot of the audience might be challenged in. Example, 85% of Instagrammers are practicing follow for follow. Mm-hmm. Now, if they fail to understand that that's actually lowering the engagement rates and causing them to build up an obligated following, how do you combat that mentality and that perception that the viewer or the listeners are going to have?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that I teach about is, look, for example, follow, unfollow. There is a time and a place for that, but what people need to understand is the psychology of why somebody would follow you or not follow you. So you think about like your favorite TV show or your favorite musician. It's your favorite musician because of their rapping style or because of the beat or because of the lyrics. There's something about them, the way they write, the way they sing, the sound of their voice, or what they do that separates them from every other musician. Or the TV shows that you watch. Like, I watched a lot of Westerns, so I have a thing for Westerns and films like that have John Wayne or Clint Eastwood in it, and those are like go-tos for me. Well, I'm connected to that because I enjoy Western movies. I enjoy really good tasting like jazz music that's very fluidic and has a lot of really cool backbeats. Like there's a guy named Masego, and I don't think anybody writes music or performs like he does. So on Instagram, if you're reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, follow me, or you're following 10 random accounts, for example, you have to think about you're not attracting them to you. All right, if they see that they have a notification that says Bob Smith has followed me, there's going to be 3 reactions. Either no reaction, I don't care that Bob Smith followed me, or they're going to look at Bob Smith's account and look at your content and in 2 seconds decide, I don't give a shit about Bob Smith's content because it's got nothing to do with what I care about. Or, best case scenario, they're going to follow you back out of a courtesy. Not because they like your content, not because they're interested in your brand, interested in your business, interested in your niche, want to click the link in your bio, or want anything to do with you. So you have to realize, like, combat the mentality, going back to your question, you are not attracting somebody that gives a shit about what you do. But when you get a video going viral on anything, or when somebody comments because they saw a friend tag them, they're now being pulled in. It's like attraction marketing. They're being pulled in. They want to follow you because they actually connect with something you do or say, like a good rapper or your favorite musician or your favorite movie. Like you love Liam Neeson or Will Smith or whatever for a reason, right? And so if you're making, if you're doing follow, unfollow, and just following random people and reaching out to them and telling them, hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me, you're not achieving that follower through something that causes them to fall in love with your content. They're not even looking at it at all. So you get a valueless type of person following you, no engagement, and you can't make income from them.
It was actually really exciting when you had taught us from the first generation class that you had done, and we started seeing some of the traction ourselves. Once we actually were able to go viral and we started getting all the likes and comments and shares coming in, we were like checking our phones all the time, and it became
addictive.
It was so addictive. I mean, I was always checking the phone, but at one point, 3,000 followers from one post, and then I had numerous viral posts in 1 month. In fact, at the height there, I had to put a cap, and I only took, for the case study, anything that made over 1 million impressions, I included, and I had over 10 viral videos or posts.
Yeah.
I had over 33,000 new followers in 1 month. That was fucking addicting.
Absolutely.
I was all over it, but completely different type of follower. I didn't follow anybody to get this. often in the groups we followed like no one, 5 people or less. It was just convenient to even follow that many.
Sure.
You know, but everybody that saw the content from the Explorer page followed us for what we were offering, whatever the account had, not because of any expectations to follow back.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole thing, is when you rank on the Explore page on Instagram already has this giant pixeled audience. They know that if I take a picture of, you know, this Christmas ornament, or I take a picture of this tree or this car, they're going to put it in front of the audience that Instagram knows is most likely to engage on that, thus giving you a follower that wants to follow you because of the content that you're posting. The second step to that is, how do I just take that and turn it into income? That's the first step. And then the second step is turn that into income. But that's where most people disconnect. That second step doesn't even exist. It's not even in their mind.
Hold that thought for a second. I'm going to come around to monetization in a minute here. But before, you were teaching us, back in 2017, we were all about the DM groups. 2018, it was power likes. 2019, everyone's kind of recalibrating from all the algorithm changes. What's working now?
3 things off the top of my head. There's what I call influencer congruency marketing, ads obviously, and then you have hashtags that are actually more relevant than they ever have been. So going through that, let's go last to first. Hashtags. Everybody's using hashtags. Everybody always says, oh, use hashtags. It's regurgitated information. So part of me saying this, everybody's like, yeah, I already know hashtags. But what I notice right now is that, you know, 2018, 2017, if you ranked on the Explore page, that's what you focused on. I need to get out on the Explore page, and that's all I care about. Now what's happening, especially with new accounts, is you rank for hashtags. It's the opposite. You rank for hashtags. If you do well and trend for hashtags, then Instagram seems to put you on the Explore page. And we've done tests where we've seen like 70% of the time we end up ranking for a hashtag, will end up showing up on the Explore page for that hashtag. So it's almost like a 2-step process. Focus on the hashtags and then rank for the hashtags, then get out on the Explore page where everybody wants to be. So hashtags, that's one thing. Second thing is obviously ads. People need to get out of the mentality of natural organic growth only. Yes, there's a time and place for that, and you should always work on getting natural and organic growth, because if you can grow organically without ads, then that means you have a really strong following, you have really good content. That's awesome. But there's so many people out there that have really good content that Instagram doesn't choose to show or doesn't choose to trend. And there's so many people that put a tremendous amount of effort in and never get seen or don't get seen enough. Obscurity is their biggest problem. Like, there's so many people that have a really good product or service, it never gets seen. It might be the best product or service in the market. It could change the entire world, but it's not known because they can't figure out how to rank content, or they don't rank enough. They don't get in front of the right audience. So ads are a really important way of getting in front of exactly who you want to get in front of. Like, you can literally go, all right, here's this picture of maybe you're a realtor, all right, and you only sell $1 million homes and above. Ads are so, you can target exactly who you want. People don't understand that. They think that they're spending money when they pay for ads, but really a good ad will always make them money in return. And oftentimes they get a sale before they've even been charged for the ads. So I don't understand that mentality. Like, if I could blindly go and make a bunch of content and hope people follow me back and the right type of person, and it results in a conversation or something that turns into a deal, okay. But if I can literally stand over the whole community of Instagram and go, I want that guy because I'm a realtor, and this guy has just gotten done saying he's interested in buying a house in Boise, Idaho, where I live, and this guy makes $800,000 a year, and he's got $400,000 in the bank account to put down on a $1.2 million home, and he's got a 760 credit score. I want to market mine I want that one right there. That's the one I want. I pick that one. And you can do that with ads. But most people don't ever go to the effort of understanding ads on that depth. And if they did, they would out-brand, out-monetize everybody in their niche. They never ever have to think about competing. So ads are a second thing. Third thing is influencer marketing. People talk about influencer marketing all the time, but nobody understands shit about it. They think, I'm gonna find an influencer and give them this picture and tell that influencer to tell people to come follow me. Without getting too inappropriate, that is like walking up to a camel and ejaculating on it. It makes 0 sense, and there's no reason why you would do that. There's no targeting. You don't know who their audience is. You don't know if that audience is going to connect to your stuff. You don't know what their best posting time is, and you're probably giving them a piece of content that is not congruent with what they post. So when you give them a post to post on their account, it's a culture shock to their audience because it's abstract from their account. It doesn't result in very many followers for you, let alone the right type of ones, and it actually hurts their account because they're posting something abstract. So what I do is called influencer congruency marketing. So for example, if there's an information account, maybe it teaches about investing, and that's something I talk about a lot, is like investing, finance, money, how to create an ROI out of your business. I post a lot of content like that through infographics, through info videos, and just through talking in my stories when I go live on Instagram. And when you come to my profile, you'll be able to see that any day, any time, that I talk about that a lot. So what I'll do is I'll find a big page with really good engagement that has a similar theme to me. And I'll say, hey, I want to do a campaign with you for the next 30 days. How much would you charge me to do one post every 3 days? So I get like 10 a month. They'll be like, well, $800. I'm sorry, I don't really have the budget for that. It's kind of steep, man. I got $500. Can you do 600? No, I got 500. Okay, great. Now I have the price I want. Now, real quick, I just want to make sure. Can you give me your analytics? Because I know that I don't want the 18 to 24 audience. That's fine having them there, but the older audience pays a little bit more. So when I see 25 to 34, when I see tier 1 countries, US, Canada, Australia, that's all good signs. So now I know right type of engagement, right type of age, location, all that stuff. And now what I'm going to do is I make content completely congruent with what they're already posting. So I have a lot of infographics that are like red and black text on a white background. And maybe there's an account that is very same type of content, but it's like black background, green and yellow text. I'll literally just take my infographics and change them to green and yellow text, black background, give them to this guy to post. And when he posts and it's got, blah, 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 blah in the caption, call to action, follow Ben, and here's why, it results in a huge influx of followers on my account. And right when they come over, they see the exact same type of content that they already have proven to us that they love consuming, that they're already following. Now they're loyal, they're cultured in my stuff. I see them start saving my content, start commenting on it. That's congruency marketing. And these are people, when everybody else on Instagram is not looking for deals and not working leads, they not coming to me or in my community, clicking on links in my bio, going and looking at all the different resources I have for them, and really becoming a dedicated follower and the kind that I can actually turn into a customer.
That's a mouthful. Dude,
Yeah.
You tackled so many different things. Where do I jump in first? Speaking of influencers, there's a lot of influencers who don't know shit, and just because they've built up more than 10,000 followers, they call themselves an influencer, but they actually have no influence over their audience.
Yeah.
They have horrible engagement rates, and yet they're almost, you talk about influencer marketing, but almost like on a cheaper note, they're doing shout outs. That's what they're doing, is a shout out, but it's not congruent. They'll take the money from just about anybody, and they're relying on the person wanting the shout out to supply the content. And like you said, it's not congruent. So you've got misunderstandings both on the influencer side, because not all influencers are created equal, as well as the expectation side of the person buying them. They're uneducated, they don't know what they're getting into. They want the price of a shout out, but the impact of influencer marketing that you're talking about. So there's a disconnect already, and not everybody, the majority, are not thinking the same way you are.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me go back a minute. You talked about hashtags. I'm so glad you did. I had massive success with hashtags. We called it the hashtag ladder back from 1.0. You calling it the staircase at this point. But we're breaking down our hashtags, not just small, medium, and large. I'm going like 6 layers deep, getting micro into every layer of my hashtags. But there are guys out there right now, they're selling tools. They're selling them to everybody. You need a hashtag tool. You don't know what's gonna go viral for your account. Shit like that. And I'm like, dude, that is like one side of the coin. If you found the perfect hashtag that would be appropriate for your account for this size, if it goes viral, that's not the same hashtag to keep it going viral. Or if that's the most viral hashtag for this niche, you can't get to it unless you have all the likes, comments, and shares along the way to reach being ranked on that hashtag. So it's awesome that you even talk about these things. A lot of these people, they just vomit up a bunch of hashtags, or they don't change their hashtags. They use the same set every fucking day, and they, you know, they wonder why they're not growing, or why their audience is limited, and they're like, no, I'm not going to deviate. This is the best hashtag set that I've got, and they just stick with the same thing all the time.
100%. And one thing that people don't realize, they talk about, they'll be growing and all of a sudden it'll just stop. One thing is Instagram doesn't play fair. They are probably the most biased platform in the world, and it is a pain in the ass. They can limit your exposure at any point they want, and out of no moral reason, all right, out of no ethical cause or ethical reason. But something that people don't realize is they can post sometimes and they can actually be using a banned hashtag, and you wouldn't know that unless you actually went into the search bar and typed in that hashtag, and it would say something like, due to violations of community guidelines, recent posts from this hashtag have been blocked from you seeing them, or something like that. You wouldn't know that, so you're innocently just posting, and you post one banned hashtag, next day you post another, 8 days in a row you post more, and finally Instagram pulls the plug on you, says this idiot posting spammy content. They don't bother to look at it, but then they choose to put you in a ban. Only way you're going to find out is either manually researching that or using something to find out. But it can be hard because so many people innocently are using the same hashtag over and over, like you said, and Instagram goes, okay, there's something going on here, or they're using a banned one and not even knowing it.
Right on. I'm sure that's going to be resonating with a lot of the audience. They're going to want to dig deeper into that. Let me shift gears for just a minute.